Good morning, Diamonds of the Earth. Welcome or welcome back to a new year. Welcome to this new beginning again of this channel. I know I have been in and out for a while, especially when it comes to the projects that I have to do, when it comes to the ideas that I have for plays and stuff. And I've been very wishy-washy, and I want to apologize. I haven't really been consistent at all with this channel, but this year I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I think I found a renewed sense of purpose for this channel, especially when it comes to my love for creativity and my love for getting creative works done. So this year, I'm taking the incentive to finish Project Fireflies fully. I want to have the characters matched up. I want to have the plot matched up. I want to have everything organized. So by the end of the year, God willing, I can either work on publishing or I can have it fully published, whether it be self-published or whatever the case may be. So this is day one of this series, Project Fireflies, a renewed beginning. I don't know what title I'm going to give this, but that's the goal for this year. So we're going to be walking through the character creation. We're going to be doing some plot work, a summary of the plot, and as well, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the inspiration I have. We're probably going to make a Notion board as well. I already kind of have one already set up, but we're probably just going to refine it. And that one is going to show you guys where the inspiration came from, why I chose that as my inspiration, and all the other things that kind of give the vibe of what I'm going for. Obviously, I'm not going to go into full details, but my main inspiration, I'll give you guys that because I think it's a good inspiration. With this play, I've already kind of explained how I want this play to go, but I'm just going to give like a little bit of a recap. So if you guys were aware of the last video I did, I basically explained that with this play, I wanted it to be reflective of a song I found performed by xoxo, and it's called Tumangang River. That's the inspiration for this piece, but specifically it's her performance of this piece. I love the original version. I do think it has a nice vibe to it, and I think I might reference the original towards the end of the play so people know where it comes from. But I want the main inspiration to be xoxo's performance. We're going to actually watch it so you guys can see what the performance is. And if you guys are like me and you like to return back to things over time, I'm going to put it in the description as well so you guys can also reference it for yourselves. But basically, the song is about a woman who pretty much finds out that her husband was murdered as a result of his work as a resistance rebel, let's call him. And as a result of his rebellious nature, he ends up getting arrested, and then he was essentially assassinated or killed in the prison that he was arrested in. And the woman, she finds out, she mourns, and then she ultimately walks into the river, the Tumangang River, which is the name of the song. And that's how she unfortunately meets her demise. So it's a very sad song, it is. And I got a lot of inspiration from it, specifically because of the way that xoxo took the song and re-transformed it to the way that she did. She took on the woman herself and performed it as though it was the woman singing and not just a traveler that was listening and hearing the qualms and the woes of this woman, but she actually took on the persona of said woman and performed it in that way. Again, we're gonna make reference to it. We're gonna go back and watch it so you guys can see. But that's mainly the inspiration for the play. And my main goal for this, if I can, summarize it in one word, is disruption. I want to disrupt a lot of the narratives and a lot of the expectations of the roles that are going to be in place. I want to disrupt the audience. I love the idea of the audience taking part in things. And I think this was from a love from, I don't remember her name, but there was a performer who did this really, I don't even know the word to describe it, but it was very out of the ordinary with the ways in which she was drawing out human nature with her performance. So essentially, she stood in a center of like a square, let's say, and she had a table filled with an array of different items. And all these different items can be used on her within a set amount of time. I can't remember. From morning until night, I believe. She had her performance where she just stood still and she had her items on a table, and she pretty much just allowed the audience to pretty much do whatever they wanted to do with the items on the table and without. So it was ultimately a call to say, this is where human nature can lead when it's not interrupted, when it's not disruptive, when it's, or not disrupted, and it's not forced to stop or cease in any way, shape, or form. It got really violent because we know human nature, but it was a really interesting performance that I really appreciated because it disrupted the narrative of that the audience is a passive listener. And I like the idea of her disruption in that regard. And I wanted to take on an approach where I can also disrupt the audience and how the audience responds and reacts to a play. Another play that did this really well was Almighty Voice and His Wife, where the wife was a performer towards the second half of the play. And the performance and the jokes that were made for the audience to have a reaction, because it switched from the audience being a passive bystander of a story to now actively taking part in the play and being essential for the movement and how quickly or how slowly the play moves forward. So those are like two main examples that I kind of want to take on with me to remember that the main purposes of this is not simply just to write a play, it's to be disruptive. And it's to disrupt the narratives of what the bystander is, but also to disrupt the nature of what an actor is and all that stuff. So that's my main goal. We're going to see how this goes. Remember, I have until the end of the year, the end of 2026. This is my goal. And yeah, we're going to see from there. So we're going to go listen to Tumangang, the xoxo performance, and then afterwards we're going to chat a little on the things I appreciate about the performance and all that stuff. But I'll see you guys there. Awesome. So we are here. We're going to be watching the xoxo performance. I have my camera or my monitor over here, so that's why I'm looking on that side. But we're going to be watching, and then we're also going to try to like dissect it, analyze it, all the fun stuff, so that we can see a full picture as to why we're choosing this in the first place. So let's start. Okay, so at 45 seconds before we officially start the vocal portion of the video, one detail I do really like about this performance so far is the fact that, one, there's not a lot of stuff going on. It's just her on the stage with rose petals and the blue background, and then also including the instruments and stuff. But the detail I do like that they did emphasize was the act of removing her shoes. From what I have learned, especially from the little bit of research I had done about Korean culture, when a person is ready to erase themselves, I guess is the YouTube safe way of saying it, when they are planning to do that, in Korean culture, it's common for people to leave their shoes before they go and do what they're doing. So I like the detail of this, where it's a reminder that this song is supposed to be a very sad song, and it's not a song that is meant to be like dramatic in any way, shape, or form. It's very solemn, but the fact that she had removed the shoes, I thought that was a really good detail. Let's continue. Okay, we're going to pause at 2:31. So in this part, just the beginning part alone, I think that she does a really good job at making use of her pauses and making use of the breaks that she has. She's not rushing at all. She's taking her time. I love the fact that they don't have the music playing in the background anymore. It's just her. It just makes it more eerie in a sense. especially with like outside of understanding Korean, because I don't understand Korean that well. But as someone that's watching it without truly understanding Korean, not understanding the language, you can sense that this is not supposed to be something like you get the feeling of there's something solemn here. There's a lot of sadness here. She does a perfect job at portraying that without, and also breaking the language barrier. Music is a great way of breaking language barriers. We know music is its own language, so we can always tell, but like she does a really good job and she makes use of her environment really and truly with her stillness in it so that people are forced to pay attention to her and they're not distracted by anything else, but they're focusing on her and the story that she's explaining to everybody. So I absolutely love that detail. Okay, let's continue. Okay, I have to pause it again. Even with the woman crying, I've listened to this song, I think, countless times. I've listened to it so many times. So now, because I'm watching it with you guys, and I think because I'm more so analyzing it rather than just listening to it, I'm not as teary eyed, but she does such a good job at putting on this portrayal of someone who is mourning. I don't know if you guys got that vibe. Maybe it's because I know how the song goes and how, like, what the song overall means, what the representation of the song is, but she does a really phenomenal job at giving the sense of there's someone that is mourning and she is very resolved in her decision. Like she has come to this decision that this is what she's going to do. And you are just someone that she's letting you know that this is the story. This is the story of my life. This is what happened. Um, and though she's not saying it in that regard, it's more so like a solemn, like not prayer, but I guess in a way a prayer to her deceased loved one. But it's it's so good. She does a really good job. It's a completely different experience compared to listening to the popular version that most people know. She really took it and turned it on its head. Okay, I think that's the last one, I promise. Okay. So at 5:02, that's the performance. Obviously, again, I'm going to link in the description so you guys can see and you guys can watch over again and again if you choose to. One thing I will say, that part where she gets very in, when she goes really in vocally, I get chills every single time for that part because you feel the anguish. And I think that's what I love about not just her performance, but Pansori in general. With Pansori, you feel the rawness of the singer and the story in a sense. They do a really good job with how they perform a story. She's a pansori singer, a traditional pansori singer, which is like a classical technique that it's like a classical music technique in Korea. But she does a phenomenal job, an amazing job at really expressing the anguish and the rawness of the emotion that is being portrayed, especially towards the end when the music is at the peak and then the music kind of dies off and it leaves her singing out that loud, that final note before going back to what she kind of had at the beginning with that like resolved feeling of this is the decision I'm going to be making. That aspect or that area of it, she was it was really good. It was a phenomenal, it's a phenomenal piece overall. The music choice was great, especially because it helped to bring in the intensity of the situation, especially because she's supposed to be dealing with the fact that she lost her husband. So all of it is a lot of anguish she's feeling as a result. And the music building up really lets the audience feel that anguish and feel that discomfort with knowing that this woman is just lost pretty much everything, and that resolved nature that she had at the beginning, this loud portion is like her underlying feelings, but then she goes back to being that resolved calm person where she's like, I had my mind made up, this is the decision I'm going to be making, and basically I can't wait to see you again. It's a really phenomenal piece, and I really look forward to doing my best to portray this in the play that I'm going to be writing.